Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. In today's video we're going to take a look at getting started with a Skaven in Warhammer Age of Sigmar using the contents of the army's half of the Ultimate Starter Set. Today's video is sponsored by Gap Games, a fantastic miniature wargaming store in Queensland, Australia. They stock a wide variety of miniature wargames from all things Games Workshop to some of my personal favourites, Conquest of the Last Argument of Kings, and all things Modifius wargames as well. Use our affiliate code in the link below to help support both this fantastic store and the channel as well. This video can also be helpful if you're looking to build your first list with either the contents of the Skaven Tide launch box or one of the many other variants of the Age of Sigmar starter sets. Starting off and leading our box set is a Claw Lord on Norbeast. This character has 7 wounds and a 4+ save, which is, for Skaven characters as far as it goes, pretty survivable. The model has some decent combat potential with 5 attacks with his Warpforged Halberd, which, thanks to the Cornered Rat rule, if this model is damaged it actually adds 3 to these attacks, putting it up to a nice 8 attacks, hitting on 3s, wounding on 4s with Ren 1 damage too. Now, he's also got some extra attacks there from his Norbeast Chisel Fangs, and he's also got a Rattling Pistol which has the crit auto wound ability and can shoot in combat, a nice little extra bit of shooting. His Cruel Commander rule can be used during the hero phase, and to declare it you pick a friendly non-hero Verminous infantry unit within 13 inches of the model, and you inflict 1 mortal damage on that target but add 5 to their control score. So essentially you will most likely drop your control score by 1 and then add 5 to the total, so you generally get +4 for the cost of 1 Skaven life, which you can bring back as we'll talk about later. The last character we get inside the box set is a Warlock Engineer. Now this clan Scry hero, first of all, is armed with a Warplock musket, which is a pretty cool weapon. This is a 24-inch range, 2 attack, 3s to hit and wound, Ren 2 damage D3 weapon with a crit auto wound ability. And you've also got the more warp energy ability, which can be used as a reaction after you've chosen to use a shoot ability with this unit. Roll a dice on a 2+, set the damage characteristic of the Warplock musket to 3, however on a 1 it sort of malfunctions, fails, blows up in his face, and he suffers D3 mortal damage himself. Now, you've also got the Sniper Master rule as well. For the rest of the turn, you can pick a visible hero to be the target, and friendly Warplock Giselles hold within 13 inches of this unit can ignore the guarded hero ability. It's really good. Essentially, this makes them snipers for you to take out your enemies shooting. We'll get onto Warplock Giselles later. Now, the first of 2 units that we have access to within the initial box set here are Clan Rats. We get 20 of these in the box set, and they don't have that much going for them on their base profile. 2 attacks, 4s to hit, 5 to wound, no red damage 1 with crit auto wound, which does help definitely get through a few. But there are ways that we can buff them up throughout the army, whether that be through some of the other characters we have access to, or by some of the different abilities we can get through our battle traits. But we've also got the Seething Swarm ability, which is really cool, and this is what I was alluding to before, where you can return the models you slay with your Skaven Warlord. This allows you to return D3 slain models at the end of the turn, your Seething Swarm ability. Now, they've also got the Champion, Musician, and Standard Bearer keywords there, meaning that they can have these models within the unit to give them all the different effects that they would get for applying to it. Lastly, in the box set, we have the brand new Rat Ogres, some of my favourite Skaven models. These guys have always been something I've always liked about the Skaven, and seeing the fantastic new models is great. Now, you've got 3 of these models that come inside the box, and one of them is armed with a Warpfire gun. This is a 10-inch range, 2d6 attack, shooting combat weapon. It's actually pretty nice. Only damage 1, but Ren 2 is pretty cool. And then you've got all of them armed with Claws, Blades, and Fangs. This packs out 5 attacks per model with 4s to hit, 3s to wound, Ren 1 damage 2. They've also got 4 health and a 5+ save. Decent, not overly survivable, but the Unleashed Warp Fury ability they can use during the combat phase allows them to actually inflict D3 mortal damage on themselves to increase their attacks by 1. If your unit's going in undamaged, I'd almost always use this, as long as you're potentially not losing a Rat Ogre out of it. You've got to, I guess, weigh up that gamble if you want to do it. But they are a fun unit. They're definitely going to punch some things and get in and kill some stuff as well. And so, where to go next? And well, the first unit we're going to look to grab is one that was mentioned in one of our heroes profiles, and that is Warplock Giselles. These just pair so nicely with a Warlock Engineer. They've got an 18-inch range, and if the unit doesn't use a move ability, they actually get an extra 6 inches of range. 2 attacks each, hitting on 4s, wounding on 3s at range, 2 rend, 2 damage, and a crit auto wound ability can make them really good. Little snipers, especially when you consider that they can ignore that sort of guarded hero ability. These guys will take out, small heroes off the table with impunity. They've got, not much attacks-wise, with just a couple of attacks with their rusty knives in combat, but they do have a 4+ save and 2 wounds per model, as you would expect. They've got 2 Skaven there, but the big paves that they have, the big giant shield, gives them that nice save and really can make them quite hard to remove for Skaven units anyway. And lastly, we're going to look to add another character. A master model will be great alongside our Rat Ogres. First of all, this model has a few attacks both at range and in combat, nothing too crazy to write home about, though the arsenal of mutation is crit 2 hits, which is pretty cool. But the big thing here is their abilities. First of all, the Lord of Flesh Crafting at the end of any turn. You can pick another friendly mold unit, hold within 13 inch, and heal 3 to the unit. This is really cool. Can obviously help heal your Rat Ogres after they've used their ability to do their damage on themselves. But you've also got the Tyrannical Packmaster, which can allow you to add one to the charge roll of up to 3 friendly moldy units nearby as well, getting those Rat Ogres into combat more often. This is a pretty solid character all round. He's going to give lots of buffs to those Rat Ogres, get them into the combat, allow them to stay on the field longer. Definitely what you want around them. And so some other things we're going to want to look to pick up for our Skaven army. The first of these being the Gnawholes. These are a faction terrain piece that are a fundamental part of how the Skaven army can work. They allow our Skaven to move around the table, but also allow us to bring units back from the dead as well at half the strength, back onto the table through them as well. It can be really useful as just allowing you that little bit of extra movement across the table. Now they do also have the volatile ground special rule. This means model can pass through them as normal, but each time an enemy unit ends a move, they'll pass through or across the terrain in any way, roll a d3 on a 2+, inflict some mortal damage on them, which is really cool. So they're just going to give us some extra maneuverability and potentially stop the enemy being able to move as well. The other thing we're going to want to look at pick up is that we have wizards in our force, so this means we're going to look to pick up some of the manifestations. Now obviously Skaven have their own set of manifestations, including the Belt of Doom, Vermintide and Warp Lightning Vortex, but they do also have access to the generic ones from the Malign, Sorcery and Forbidden Power box sets as well. And so our list today, obviously we're going to be playing with Skaven, and we've gone for the Claw Horde as our battle formation. This gives us a once per turn army ability we use during the combat phase, and pick up to 3 friendly Verminish units that charge to be the targets. You can add one to the Rend characteristic of the target's melee weapons for the rest of the battle. This for me just goes on the Clan Rats and obviously the Claw Lord on Norbeast. They're going to get the most out of this, and they're definitely going to get that little bit of extra punch, which is going to really help us. And so for our first regiment we have our Grey Seer, and this model is going to be our general, and it's going to have the artifact of Power Skaven Brew, which is a fun artifact we can have that's going to allow us to take some extra damage on one of our Skaven units, but then increase their attacking power. In units wise, we're going to have the Claw Lord on Norbeast as this model's unit, as we can take one of these lesser Skaven heroes alongside the Grey Seer. This is a heroic trait skill manipulator on it as well, which allows it just to protect itself if it's nearby some friendly infantry. And then we have our Clan Rat unit there as well. Our second regiment will be our Warlock Engineer, and this will of course have our Warlock Giselles in the same regiment as it for its unit. And then lastly, for a third regiment, we have our Master Molder, who's going to have a unit of Rat Ogres with him as well. This is just going to fill out our army and give us a solid amount of units on the table. We hope this video was helpful in getting you started with Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and it was able to give you some ideas and inspiration to start your own force in the game. If you have any other questions at all, please comment down below. And while you're there, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, and join our Discord server to check out all our future Warhammer Age of Sigmar content.